Alright guys, today we're going to be doing a textured top cut down to about a 2 on the sides. We're going to go ahead and taper it out on the sides and the back, and we'll probably throw a little part in the side just to add a little flair to the haircut. Before we get started, let's go to the wall and see what we're going to use. Alright guys, so lately we've used the red low pros, the iridescents, we used the camo FX, we just used the green, and he said he liked the iridescents, so we're actually going to use the lithiums. We'll test them out. I actually haven't used these yet. I've used the OGs, but not the iridescents. Alright guys, so we'll be using the DFS formula. I'm going to start off by sectioning from his crown up to the recession. You see I just push the comb, naturally let it follow the head shape, and you can see we got a nice clean part. Now I can take the hair that's going to stay on top, just comb it up towards the top, and I'll go ahead and clip that up. Alright guys, so I'm going to start by finding his head shape. You see I can take my comb, I can see where the round of his head is. We're going to start by cutting our foundation in at the round of his head. So in the back that's going to be at the occipital, and on the sides it's going to be at the parietal ridge. I'll just comb it down. I'm going to cut my line in. My fingers are against the head. That means my clipper work is going to tie into that. We'll do this around both sides, and then we can connect the top to that, and the clipper work will tie in right underneath. Alright, so now that the foundation is cut in, the next step is to section from the crown pretty much down the middle. It's not always going to be down the middle. You guys just want to see what their hair wants to do. Again, just let that comb kind of follow the head shape. And if there's a significant split here in the front, calic, growth pattern, whatever you guys want to call it, you can work off of that. Ideally you want to, but if they don't really have that, you can just section it more or less down the middle. And you guys will see the way that we're going to move through this. It's not really going to make a difference at the end because we are going to take all this up and tie it in. So you see I got it sectioned. Now we'll go ahead and connect it in on the sides, and as we move towards the front, we can decide what we want to do to leave a little more length in the front. Alright, so you can see we got a lot of overhang, and the guide that we initially cut is underneath. That's our foundation. So now all we're going to do is pull the hair out, and we're going to connect it in. So in the back, I'm definitely going to connect it. I can use my scissors to pull the hair up, tie it right into that line that we cut initially. And as we work our way around, he wants it pretty long, so we're going to not connect it on the sides. We're going to go ahead and pivot out and leave it longer in the front. And this is the part of the formula, guys. You have the freedom to create what you want. So the formula is the process that we're going to follow to move through this haircut. But I can decide at any point. People ask all the time on these videos, you know, how did you decide how long you were going to cut the foundation? Or how do you decide how long you want to leave the front? Well, you're deciding. You know, you just answered your question. You get to decide. It's just a system for us to move through it, and we can customize it however we want. Now you guys see it's falling out right here, so that's going to end up being my longest point. Now I will angle back to that back. So you see as we go, I can see where it's short back here. Follow that same angle, and we'll just tie it in. Now everything in the back will lay in together nice and smooth, and the front will get a little bit longer, as you can see. And then as we take this up to the top, that guide is going to transition up to the top. You guys will see that in a second. And you see we got a nice length on the side. The clip work's going to tie right into, and we left it longest in the front. So the beauty of this formula is that we already cut it out at each side. We connect it to the foundation. And now when we take the hair straight up, it is going to have a guide from each side that we cut. So you can see, I'm going to take a section from the back. I'm going to pull it up. It's going to start falling out on both sides. You guys can see where that guide is. We pivoted out at the front so it's longer. So as we move forward, our guide's going to get longer. Super easy to follow. All we have to cut on top is this one panel. You see, falling out. And it just gives us complete customization of the haircut. Also, you can point cut, you can blunt cut, you can use a razor, whatever you want to do. Just a super easy process to follow. And like I said, guys, it is called the DFS formula. If you guys want to learn more, you can go to dfsformula.com. Hours upon hours of education on there about this. If you guys aren't comfortable with your scissor work, you want to get a little more technical, a little more advanced, be able to handle a cut like this that's so long on top, still get your scissor work in underneath. And you guys can save 15% using code Sean15. Like I said, there's tons of education. So I'm just going to follow this all the way up to the front. Like I said, it's going to start to get longer, and then we can move on to the fade on the sides. I'm just going to knock the moisture off of his hair with the blow dryer to get it dry. We'll come in and start the fade on the sides. All right guys, so moving on to the side, you can see the hair is dry. You can see where I cut this initial guideline right here, the foundation of this haircut. All I'm gonna do is come in with the number 4. These are the Lithium FX. This is the iridescent colorway. We're just gonna come in and clear the side. And you see, again, I cut that to the round of the head, so I don't wanna round in and take it off. Just wanna come straight up through that, right? And you can see I can tie the clipper work right in to that scissor work that we did in the beginning. Clear the side to a 4, and then we're gonna work our way down to a number 2 before we move on to the taper on the sides and back. All right guys, so now we're gonna come in with a number 3. It is all the way closed, and I see where I already tied in. I don't wanna go that high. I wanna come right underneath the 4. And we were just talking and he saw a picture on my wall and said he liked that haircut, which is a bald fade. So we're actually gonna do a bald fade. So I'm gonna cut him down to about a 2, and then we'll set our bald guideline and work our way up. All right, so if you guys see the weight line, we're gonna do a bald fade. So I'm gonna mimic this same shape of this weight line. I'm gonna come down pretty low. He got a little nervous when we said bald fade. So, you know, that tells me sometimes people don't want half of their head bald. So we're gonna do it pretty low, kind of just a tamed bald fade. We're just gonna follow that shape. So in the back, we're gonna drop it slightly. Well, it's got a chameleon blade. It is the Iridescent Lithium trimmer. And I remember when I got the black and gold, when they had the original gold blade. I have not used this yet, but this chameleon blade, I've always heard about it. And you can see it is chopping this hair off. Nice sharp line. Not that we really want a super sharp line right here because we got to fade it out, but these bald out no problem. Definitely, you know, I'll be honest, I haven't used them much, even the other ones. I haven't used these at all, but I haven't used even the black and gold a whole lot, but I'm impressed already with these, and the chameleon blade's pretty solid. Now there is a fade blade on the clippers, so we'll see how that turns out. You guys know fade blades are not my favorite, but we're about to test it out and see. All right, so the first step we're gonna do is come in with the lever all the way open. We're gonna set our open guideline. I'm gonna go about 3/4 of an inch. Since we did the fade so low, I'm gonna go ahead and stretch this open section. He does have that nice, easy blonde hair, so I'm not too worried about it looking bad. But I am gonna give myself in this open section plenty of room to work it out, get it nice and clean. And as we work up towards the 3, it'll be a little easier and we can compact it a little tighter, you know, right underneath that weight line. So I'm just gonna make sure I have a nice, consistent open section, and we'll start to work that line out from the bottom. All right, so we're gonna use clipper close at the bottom and we'll work our way up. I like to tell people that these clippers have 5 notches on them. And if you were to take this section and visualize 5 lines going through it, that is where you should be with each notch on your clippers. So we did it all the way open, or the 5th notch at the top. Now at the bottom, I'm using it on the 1st notch and just following that principle. If you're on the 3rd notch, you should be halfway open in the section. So we're just gonna kind of follow that, work our way through. Like I said, you got that easy blonde hair, so it already pretty much looks blended okay. But when you guys are detailing, kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If you have a spot that's up at the top, you should open it up. You can always kind of do trial and error. If that doesn't get it, go to the 4th notch until you work it out. So we're just going to work this section out and we'll move on to our open one. All right, now we're gonna come in number 1 all the way open. Same thing, we'll go up about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. And we should see this start to come together. It's not gonna come all the way together because it is a 3 above it, but it's gonna start to lighten that up, and we're gonna start to get a little bit of a fade here. So we're gonna open the 1 all the way up, set that guideline in, and then I like to actually go above it and work my way back down, leaving this line right here as the last one that we have to take out. And that kind of lets me detail as I do the fade. But you guys can see, nice clean guideline here. Now we'll go ahead and go probably back to the 3 just to be safe, work our way down and take this line out, and then we'll work on this last line at the bottom. So this is a number 3. I'm just going through this one more pass just to make sure that everything up here is a 3 before I start to fade my way down. So I like to, again, follow the shape of the weight line and basically do a stroke all the way through, and we're just going to make sure that it's consistent, that it ties into the weight, and then we'll come in with the next guard under that, and we'll do the same thing, working our way down until it's all tied together. This is a number 2 closed, same thing. On these bigger guards, I really like to use them all closed. A lot of times you can get away with it because we are dealing with longer hair. Now obviously on his head, when I say it's dark once you get up to the bigger guards, it's not really dark, but it is kind of less obvious when there's a dark spot when you get up to the longer guards. So I like to use them closed. If you guys do put a little gash in there or something that you want to clean up, or you just feel like that's too risky, obviously we can open it up. We can go halfway, we can go all the way, and we just work a little bit higher. So you guys always want to think about, you know, where you are with it closed. If you open it, you should be a little bit higher. If you're half open, you should be, you know, in the middle of those two spots. So always have a system to your fades. You can see we moved through this pretty quick. Basically done. There's just a slight line left down there above the open one that we'll hit with the 1.5. We can move on to that last line. All right, so this is a 1.5 all the way closed. And we don't see a whole lot right here, but there is a little bit of a line left. So I'm just gonna go through one pass, make sure that it looks good, and then we'll work down to that last line and we'll be done with this side. Now continuing down, back to the one open just to be safe. Once we know it's good, we'll close it up immediately and start to work on that last line. Now we can close it. The same thing here, I know my steps, right? I know that this one closed is not gonna take this line all the way out. So I'm gonna close it up, I'm gonna work on the line, it is gonna soften the line, but I know in a second we're gonna grab the half guard and it is gonna take this the rest of the way out. Now this is the half guard halfway open. That's going to be the sweet spot between the open section and the closed one. So now I'm just working on this last line. And again, guys, these steps are just what I follow. Anytime you want to open and close it, you're welcome to. But you need to have some type of system that you follow so you can stay organized. And you know, once you have a feel for it, once you know the clipper, you know, this is a clipper honestly I haven't used yet. And I remember the first time I used the other one, this is one of the first extended levers that Babyliss did. So definitely a little bit of a learning curve compared to some of the other clippers that I use. So once you guys know your clippers, know your system, know your guards, you can do it however you want, but you do want to have a system that you stick to. And you guys know, if you have been watching me, I always do the same steps. And sometimes with a different blade or with a different, you know, lever system, it'll throw it off a little bit. So got a little bit of a learning curve by doing that. But again, I can stay consistent and then adjust based off of what I can see in front of me, what the haircut's giving me. And I would tell you guys to do the same thing. So try to stick with the system and then we just adjust based off of the client, based off the cut that they want. And everybody's hair acts a little bit different. All right, so we're pretty much done with this side. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a part in. We're gonna kind of come off of where the hairline lands and follow the contour of the fade. So I'm gonna detail this more, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the line in it because if I spend too much time detailing now and then put the line in after, I might cut all the work that I just did out. So there's no purpose in doing that. We'll go ahead and cut the line in. I'm gonna drop it in the back slightly. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the other side of the fade and then we'll detail it all at the very end. Just a little part here to add a little pop to this haircut. I was telling him I've done like 4 of these. All these guys his age these days want this long in the front haircut. I've done like 3 of them this week, so I had to talk them into doing something just slightly different to switch it up. So also, you guys haven't seen me do a fade on this cut. We've only done like a 2 on the sides, different things like that. So you should be able to see now how the process works. And once you tie the clip work into the side, you can do whatever you want underneath that. So should be able to see that in the last couple of videos like this that I've dropped. This one being a skin fade up into all that weight and length on top. We'll throw a little design in here just to add a little flair. All right, moving on to side number 2, we're gonna do the same exact steps. You guys just follow along and I'll get back with you when we style it. All right guys, we're gonna add some Tomb45 Indestructible clay. You just wanna take it and rub it in your hands very well, emulsify it all the way down. Not gonna get quite clear, but it should get close. You want it to feel warm in your hands, and then we're just gonna disperse it all throughout his hair, and it should give us a super nice, messy look, and kind of shake it out and show that texture. All right guys, that is it for the finished cut. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Kind of a longer texture crop, bald fade on the sides, more or less a mid fade with a little part. He got that light hair so we can barely see the part. If you guys enjoyed it, smash that thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. And make sure you guys click right there and check out one of my other favorite texture crop fades. I'll catch you guys next time.